Greetings, earthlings and spirits and friends. Welcome to my channel. I'm Ever. It is lovely to have you here today. I am so immensely excited to bring you this video today. This video has been swirling in my mind for a while, and I figured Scorpio season would be a good time to just dive in, which coincidentally, this video is also lining up with my birthday this week, so we're really going to be getting into the origins of things. So this video was inspired by receiving the Primordial Dreams Tarot a few months ago, in addition to just generally Rachel Pollack's Shining Tribe Tarot. And by the way, you're fully invited to create a response and show me your primal and primordial decks. I would so love that, okay? So yeah. So how am I defining these words that definitely have overlap? For primal, I'll be putting a definition on the screen, which says relating to an early stage in evolutionary development. And in psychology, it says relating to or denoting the needs, fears, or behavior that are postulated to form the origins of emotional life. So keep that in mind. I definitely look at this as kind of like the physical world, what makes us human animals, skin and bone, instinct, hunger, thirst, intuition, our nervous system, fight or flight, and of course, like connected with the earliest origins of life, primitive, early societies and cultures, you know, all of that. So that natural earthly ness of the body, the physical world, is kind of how I'm viewing primal. And for primordial, the definition says existing at or from the beginning of time. Notice how both of the definitions include the word primeval. So this just tells you that there is a lot of overlap here. And then it says basic and fundamental, or for biology, in the earliest stage of development. So for me, I'm describing primordial as the intangible, the spiritual, the roots of like all existence at the beginning of time, you know, before humans, original. So like the void, spirit, energies, the forces that be and that underlie all things. And then we have the overlap, which for me feels like the magic of it all, the intersection of what makes this life what it is. You know, it's not just the physical, it's also the spiritual, and it's what makes us animals and spirits and all of it, you know, what makes the brain a mind and the world that we create. I don't know. We'll see as the decks go on. I'm going to try my best to fit a deck in one category. I have quite a lot of decks. I think I have the most for primal, and then primordial, and then for the overlap at the end. And then I'll maybe have a few that I'm a little bit unsure about and I would like your feedback on. Let me know, but that'll come at the end. This is all very subjective, of course. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. I think it's a fun opportunity to geek out on things like philosophy, anthropology, religion, spirituality, and just generally get a little existential about what is even going on here in this life. But of course, some of it is just about aesthetic, you know, about the vibe. It's not necessarily, you know, a statement on what I believe, you know. But as I said, I'm a Scorpio, so this is kind of my favorite thing to do, to talk about this kind of thing. So let's get started. So this is the box for the Primordial Dreams Tarot. I just wanted to show it to you because I already have the decks laid out. I don't have the box for the Shining Tribe. It's just white on the inside. I put this little sticker here because I think it's cute. I also have a bag for it that came with the Kickstarter, which is where I got it. So these are the decks that inspired this tag. So it's funny, this deck is the Primordial Dreams. It definitely feels like a primordial deck. It certainly fits in the category of before humans, but at the same time, because it's based on, you know, Neolithic paintings, it does fit into the primal category. I think the primordial aspect is because it feels so, because of the overlap in definition really is what it is. But as far as like my definition goes, I would consider both of these decks quite primal. But this one definitely leaning in a more primordial overlappy way. Because they feel very like original to humanity. It feels like us expressing our existence, which, you know, please ignore the fact that most of these decks do fit into both. But we're gonna try to keep it as, like I said, as separate as possible, just for the sake of the tag. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting to look at that. Like, do you see that? That's kind of crazy, right? You see that? That's pretty amazing. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much because we have so many decks, but yeah, I feel like these decks were the inspiration, so I wanted to show them. Let me know what you think, where you feel like these decks fit as far as maybe your definition or maybe even my definition. Am I even consistent with myself? Who knows? I don't know if this counts, but the next we're going to have the primal deck I have is the Iris. For me, that's sort of fitting into the definition around the nervous system, around skin and bone instinct and hunger. It feels very tapped into like the like deep aspects of life. And this is what I've used as like, I've used these postcards for color. I don't know. I don't need all of them, but I think they fit in because color and light feel like, you know, they've been around forever, right? Like it feels like that is more of a primordial thing, color. So yeah, I think they look really cool together. And as you can see, it feels like we're like seeing the... It almost feels like these colors are also like an element of like the void because it's just the color. There's nothing added. It's just what is. And we sort of project our own meanings onto it now that we're here. But yeah, this deck really feels like, you know, I know a lot of people use it for like shadow work, trauma, stuff like that, which for me is very tied into the primal feelings of what it is to be human, the ways that the things that, you know, hurt us at a very young age, you know, get imprinted into our bodies. Yeah, so that is the... For my primal deck is the Iris, and my primordial deck is kind of not really a deck, it's postcards that I've cut up. Next, for our primal and primordial, we have the Haindl Tarot and the Heavenly Bodies Astrology Oracle. I think that's the name of it. This is primordial, just it feels like, you know, in connecting with the cosmos, space, these things that existed before us. And this deck, the Haindl, feels primal in the sense that, similar to the Iris Oracle, it feels like it taps into our animal instinct of fear, of fight or flight, the things that are just like off to us in our bodies that don't feel right. Let me just even out this stack here. Yeah. These decks actually go really well together, which I did not expect. Sorry, a little messy. But yeah, I feel like this wasn't meant to be like a pairing video, but like once I had the first two together, I felt like I should just go through the rest of them side by side. I don't know. I don't have much to say. It just feels like the Haindl... Oh, sorry. I didn't give a warning. The Haindl is a little bit scary. It's quite scary. So if you didn't already know, I apologize. I hope I didn't get you caught off guard. But yeah, this is just like... Ooh. I don't even know what to say about that. That feels like... I feel like I want more scary cards to come up for the Haindl, like, so that you can understand, like, the primalness of it. It's so... I don't know. It's so something. Ooh, Queen of Swords and Scorpio. Let's end it there. Yeah, the Heavenly Bodies just feels like, you know, the cosmos. It's what existed before us. And the Haindl is, oof, fears deeply entrenched. Speaking of the cosmos, I'm not sure if this counts, but here's another postcard deck. This is actually my favorite postcard deck that I have. I have one more that didn't fit into these categories, but yeah, that is the Earth and Space, and this is the Flow Tarot. So the Flow Tarot is primal. This one, once again, is really in more of an earthly realm, sort of like what is on this planet, and what feels very natural and what is very, original to, the life that we live here. And this, of course, is photos of space. They're postcards. So on the back, it gives you like information about the photo. But so I felt like, we have heaven and earth, if you will, here and beyond. Although this postcard deck is earth and space, it feels like there's an element that's beyond us. And water feels very much like a very primal thing, but we could also consider it primordial. So maybe, because we are born of water, which I guess, you can consider that primal too. I don't know. You're figuring this out with me. Hopefully I can provide you some clarity. I don't know. But I really thought it would be fun to go through and like really view my decks through this lens. It was really hard because, when it comes right down to it, as I've said, decks feel like they fit into both. But yeah, I've been really enjoying how these decks are pairing up, which is just not how I planned on doing it, but they're working out really well. It's a really nice dichotomy here. So yeah, that is our primal deck with the Flow Tarot and our primordial with the Earth and Space postcards. One more. Oh, do you look at that? So freaking cool. I've never thought to pair these decks. And here we are. Okay, I said one more. Okay, so I'm not going to lie. Pairing these up is working so perfectly because on the left here we have Prairie Majesty Oracle with the Portals of Presence. And these, look at the backs. They work so perfectly. I'm just going to pull a few off the bottom here. And I feel like the Prairie Majesty, wow. I'm actually just shook. Like, are you guys as shook as me? Because I'm shook right now. I'm shook. This is too good. This is too good. Okay. So this absolutely, I chose the Prairie Majesty, although it could have been in the middle. Like, I hope you're not sick of me saying that because I feel like I'm going to say it like every single time. But because of the asking questions of like, what does standing still reveal and reflect? But like, I feel like the art style and the fact that it's like rooted in, earth and the animal feels very much so connected with a more primal, it goes in the primal direction, whereas the Portals of Presence feel very much like other entities. They feel like they are not human, they are not from here, they are something else. And I don't know, I just feel like when you put them together, they create quite an experience. Like I said, I did not plan to do this like this, but holy moly, is it blowing my mind. I still have to remove more to make these piles even. But yeah, are you guys seeing this? Like, whoa. Look at the rays here and the rays there. I'm sure you guys are seeing even more than I am. And this is like just absolutely wild to me. Look at that. Look at the shape of the wings with these like, oh my gosh, you guys. I really happened upon something here. Like, I don't even know what to do with this information. What reminds me I'm free? Guys, oof. How can I go higher? Leopard frog. Am I flowing through metamorphosis? Swim. Okay, this will be the last one. But yeah, these, oh my gosh, I gotta work with these together. I am discovering pairings, you guys. I did not know this was gonna happen. This is so fun. This is the fun of doing stuff like this. Okay, so I'm actually going to keep going with the Portals of Presence. You know what? Let me not. That's a little bit much. I'm going to keep going with the Portals of Presence, and I'm going to add in the Terra Oracle. This is another animal deck. It doesn't feel... It's primal in the sense that it's very simple and it's animal based, right? But it doesn't feel like vibe-wise, it doesn't fit into like that primal energy because of the art style. I feel like the art style feels a little bit less primal to me. But because it's animals, you know, for that reason, it was, you know, hard to say that it's not a primal deck, you know. But I feel like they also pair quite well together. Not as evocative, but it feels a lot more calming, a lot more grounded, maybe. Maybe that's just because... Oh, look at the lines on the tiger. Yeah. Hi, baby. Ooh, vulture. This is pretty cool. Speaking of animal, there's my little baby. He's very talkative. But yeah, that is the Portals of Presence. I feel like maybe the Portals of Presence would go really... It clearly seems to go really well with animal decks. Definitely not something I thought of doing, but certainly will be doing in the future. Okay, so next we have, for the primal deck, we have 50 plants that heal, and we have the Dust to Onyx for our primordial deck. Both of these decks feature quite a bit of black, which for me feels very primordial. However, as this is a plant deck and it has like the information on the back of each card about benefits, methods, it feels very primal in that using the plants for medicinal uses for humans, noticing the different, you know, how to care for them, where they're found, you know, the benefits and the different ways that you can use these plants for medicine, whether it be ingesting or internal or external uses. So I felt like these decks would be a nice pairing, since now we're looking at pairings all of a sudden. This deck is a little bit more muted as far as the blacks. Definitely lean. I think it's because of the finish. The blacks come across a lot more brown. But I never thought of putting these two together and really trying to look at how what the backs of these cards say could speak to this. But, you know, as that was not the original intention, it's pretty cool now to think about. And I also love how this deck shows each part of the plant through all of its all the life phases that it has. So it really goes to show the, you know, the really earthly, grounded way of looking at the plants. And, you know, with the Dust to Onyx, I mean, it's called Dust to Onyx. So for me, it's like the idea of being... I don't even know what I was going to say. I feel like it's just... It sort of feels like it's, you know, it's in the cosmos. And that's what makes it, for me, feel like a primordial deck. It feels like a lot more than this life. It could definitely fit into that overlap category, but I don't know. It definitely felt, you know, energy-wise, a more primordial deck. I feel like this one definitely goes in as far as energy and vibe, you know. Some of them I was just like, you know, you could go, but like really in my heart of hearts, this is the direction that you're leaning in, and so I just have to go with it, you know. And so I did. I really like these together. Oh, look at that. What is this? Is this not caraway? Okay, in keeping with the theme of plants, we have the Midnight Magic, a tarot deck of mushrooms, and the Threads of Fate, the Rose Edition, I believe, because it's rose gold. This deck for the primordial, I mean, because it's very archetypal, and just the vibe of it feels like not... It's you know, I don't know. Like I said, it's a vibe thing. And this is the Midnight Magic is about mushrooms, so it's definitely feeling like very earthly and rooted in the ground. And I don't know, you know, there's something about mushrooms that just feels very, very primal. And I mean, look, we have the void here, and I mean, the moon, maybe not. But, you know, the mushrooms, though, that's what we're focusing on. Mushrooms, they come from the deep. I'm sure, you know, the way that we view mushrooms now, I mean, not now, the way that humans use mushrooms, definitely, you know, for when you think of mycelium, the mycelium networks and all of that, definitely starts to get into a primordial element. And then if you think about, you know, ingesting them and some of the effects of that, can definitely also get into a primordial way. But, you know, really just thinking about them as what they are and where they come from feels, you know, very primal. And especially in all of what I just described, still feels very much comes with hunger instincts, in, you know, the ways that we recognize what is poison and what isn't, what is food, what is not. And, you know, the and in the, you know, the threads of fate, we're thinking about fate, you know, something that is beyond us, something that is, you know, before us, after us, the forces that be, you know. And this is a beautiful pairing, clearly. Like, it's really doing something for me. I don't know about y'all. Do you see that? Oh, strength connect to the heart. This is it, y'all. Oof. It's giving. It's absolutely giving. I'm having a good time. Tell me that's not, like, speaking to you. Like, for real? This is everything. I'm having fun. Okay, yeah, so this is my primal and my primordial deck. Okay, so I am going to leave the Threads of Fate out, but I'm going to bring in the Dark Goddess Tarot. This I've trimmed, but I felt like the Dark Goddess could come in as a primal deck, mostly for the art style, because as you'll see in a minute when we get into the decks that feel like they overlap, which this is a little too high. For the decks that feel like they overlap, it comes down a lot to sort of the ways that we sort of make, the ways that we interact with divinity and the ways that divinity is in us. And I feel like mostly this feels primal because of the art style. The art style, like the decks that, you know, we started with, like when it comes to, I just think Ellen Lorenzi Prince's art style feels very primal to me. And so these are really interesting to put together. Sphinx and Speak Truth. Isis and the Warrior. This is really cool. I like these. Sheila Nagig with Ancestors. Ask Body with Sekhmet. Ooh. I mean, this is definitely giving Sekhmet energy. But yeah, I think this is more about aesthetic when it comes to Ellen Lorenzi Prince's art style. I absolutely love it. It feels very primal, very like early. Like, I don't know. It makes me feel, it taps me in, I feel like, to what makes us human and like the ways that we explain and figure out and interact with the powers that be. Get wild. Yeah. Last one. Girl, Mother, and Love. Alrighty. One more pairing and then we'll get into the overlapping energies. Ooh, this is kind of perfect. Ooh, this gets me so excited. Okay, because I didn't plan this, I swear. So for our primordial deck, we have the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck, and we have, for the primal, we have the Story Medicine Baba Yaga's Soup. And these just, it feels like it comes down to art style. Once again, we have a tall stack of cards. Shaka Khan is what that made me think of. But it definitely comes down to art style. It feels like, oh gosh, these are all out of order. I'm really not gonna try to put them back together because it's impossible. But the Baba Yaga's Soup feels so primal in the art style. Like, it just feels like, like, I don't know, it just feels like pure human energy. So, you know, that, I don't know. I don't know. You know, let's be real. Just the way that it's been drawn and the storytelling, it feels very primal in like the ways, as I said in the previous deck. Sorry, y'all, my battery died. I don't even remember what I was saying. But I think it was in relation to the Dark Goddess and how we explain what's going on here, how we humans, like, it's just so natural for us to tell stories, and for the art style on the Wild Unknown Alchemy, I think it also comes down to the concepts as well. I'm relatively new, I'm new to alchemy, so you know, you folks who really understand it can tell me, but it definitely feels like the powers that be, like interacting with the powers that underlie all things and really working with them. So in that sense, they feel really beyond us, where, you know, this feels very intrinsically human for me, in the way that we express ourselves. Like, this feels sort of far away, and this feels really close. At least to me it does. So yeah. Ooh, that's so cool. Yeah, I kind of love these together too. So, you know, I kind of, as I was going, I was looking around at what I had and allowing the pairings to sort of come to me that way. So that was really fun. And I feel like, I think I did a pretty good job. Like, I don't know. I feel like I made these pairings work out, even though it was never in the plan to make pairings. It's a vibe, you guys. We have a vibe. Sorry for the backwardsness of these cards. Most of them are the wrong way, but it's really impossible to get them all the right way. You shuffle it once and it's over. But yeah, that is my primal and primordial deck. And now let's get into the overlapping cards, the cards that feel like they're in the middle, where the physical and the tangible and the intangible touch. Okay, so for these overlapping decks, I want to get these two out of the way because they're kind of like the obvious ones, at least for me personally. So we have, on the left, we have the Haindl. As I said, these are in the middle, so, you know, they're not on like the either side, as the primal and primordial ones were before. This is the Margarete Peterson trimmed. Both of these decks are trimmed down to just the artwork, as you can see. And for me, these decks sort of straddle that line between primal and primordial because they feel like the magic of the in-between, of, you know, spirit made tangible, or I don't know, it just feels like that central point of what makes us bodies and spirits and all in one and everything in between. As you can see, I didn't even realize, but the artwork feels very like, it's like somewhere between fluid and like, how do I say this? Fluid and structured. Like, it's somewhere in the middle, right? Like, we have shapes and we have images, but at the same time, they also feel very like, they feel a little bit outside of us, just a little bit outside of us, but we also feel like they're recognizable. And yeah, so I feel like these decks are really stunning, really deep decks, and they feel somewhere between primal and primordial for me. Okay, these backs are kind of perfect together. So we have the mystical shaman, which for obvious reasons feels like this crosses that liminal space of physical and intangible. And then, you know, let's pull off some of the bottom here. Next we have the Fairies Oracle. I mean, come on. This not like, I'm like, kind of like, I can't, like, my mind is being blown. Like, how is this happening? These come, I mean, I feel like the Fairies Oracle, for me, my reasoning behind that is because I feel like, although I feel like the fairies exist between that like spirit and matter. And I feel like, as I said, with the mystical shaman, it feels very much so about that liminal space and traversing the realms. These both feel like traversing the realms, and that goes quite powerfully together. Ooh. Oh my goodness. I'm amazed, and I'm having a lot of fun. Yay, I'm so glad I did this. Oh my god, guys. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, we have some traveling to do with these folks here. Can you like is it shocking to you that I have not paired these? Because I'm kind of shocked. I'm kind of shocked that I haven't paired these. This is something else. I'm having an experience here. Yeah. Okay, let me move on. I'm getting I'm getting carried away. Next up, for our overlapping primal and primordial, we have the Tongues of the Mother and the Terra Incognita. Now, these were a little bit interesting and difficult to pick for this because, you know, for a lot of which are you kidding me? Sorry, I just bumped everything. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you seeing this? Like, you're seeing it, right? Like, it's not just me. Because both of these decks could easily fit into the primal category, I feel like. Because this is a plant deck, and this is a deck feels very rooted and connected to the earth and to ancestry, deity, and all of those things. But exactly, ancestry, deity feels very tied into the forces that be. And this deck has keywords, and the way that the images like the images of the flowers are, they absolutely, let me zoom in. They absolutely feel a lot more on the primordial side. Like they feel like they surpass that earthly quality and go into something a little bit more spiritual, a little bit more intangible. Same here. This deck feels, I mean, it is just teeming with energy for me. Look at that. It's, I can't even explain how. I've been using the Tongues of the Mother so much lately too in my, in, you know, working with my deity. And so, or with the deity that I work with. And so for me, it's really tied into that very deeply. Ashe. Once again, have never paired these decks before, yet here we are. The keywords on the Terra Incognita feel definitely into that realm of spirit, of the intangible. And the flowers themselves feel like they represent something beyond. And obviously because they're in black and white, and both of these decks are very black and white in that way, they do go, in a sense, it reminds me of like babies. Because I'm like, they see in black and white, right? So, infants, I should say. And I don't know. These definitely fall into that overlap for me. Definitely let me know what you think. I have one more pairing of, this is rose petal. It's so hard to pull apart sometimes. This is, but yeah, I have one more pairing to show you. And then we'll get into two decks that I don't know. I definitely feel like, I'm not exactly sure where they fit, but like vibe-wise, they feel like they have to be in the video, you know? But yeah, that's the Tongues of the Mother and Terra Incognita Oracle. Okay, the last that I'm absolutely sure about, at least I think, which I don't know if you're going to get sick of it, but are you guys seeing what I'm seeing on these backs as well? Which a like I'm setting up the decks, you know, like I set up the decks and then I don't realize that they look like that until I look in the viewfinder right before I start talking. And I'm like, I feel like the shapes, like it's happening, right? Like it's happening, you see it. Anyway, so on the left here we have the Orisha Tarot, and we have on the right here the Beyond Lemuria Oracle. So for me, these sort of fit into that overlap category. The Orisha, because the Orisha, I'm new to learning about the Orisha, which that's kind of incredible. That looks kind of beautiful. Is it just me? And like I said, I'm new to learning about the Orisha and connecting with the Orisha. This deck has an incredibly thick guidebook. I absolutely recommend it. I have gone through a little bit of it in a like more detailed study and reading through the guidebook. So yeah, I absolutely recommend it in that sense. But the Beyond Lemuria I've had for a long time, and the reason why I feel like this deck could absolutely have fit into the primordial category, but for some reason it just didn't. It just didn't. Like vibe wise, I felt like it had something to do. It had a more primal quality, and it didn't necessarily feel like I could put it into that void because I'm not super familiar with Lemuria, for example. Like, you know, I'm new to the Orisha, but like something about Lemuria, I feel like I can't commit to saying that I can't commit to saying that it's primordial, or at least that it feels like that for me, because it doesn't. Like it definitely feels still tapped into like the like human understanding, if that makes sense. I don't know. These ones are a little bit harder to explain, but the Orisha feels tapped into community, but into divinity. It feels tapped into the earth, but into, you know, creating the bridge and traversing the bridge between realms, which is what Beyond Lemuria feels like as well. It definitely feels like traversing between realms. Oh my god, passion flower. I see them everywhere. These decks go really well together. Like, I'm actually surprised. I have in my slip for this deck, inside the deck, I have that it pairs well with the Prairie Majesty, which I showed earlier in the video, and it also pairs well with the Seasons of the Witch Mabon Oracle as well. So that's really interesting that these two go well together too. I'm discovering pairings which I had no idea, and I kind of love this. It definitely feels like tarot to the extreme, like Marlene's tag from a while back, because you know, you fit the prompt and then you pair them and then you see how well they pair, and this is just working. I'm Ace of Cups with vulnerability. Wow. I'm flabbergasted, I gotta be real. This is just not ceasing to amaze me. Sorry for the buzzing, y'all. Technology be buzzing. I gotta fix that. Okay, yeah, let's move on. This will be my last one. Endless opportunities with the Nine of Cups. Okay, last, y'all, we have these two decks. This is the Oracle of Initiation. This is, I believe, the first edition. I'm not even sure. I got this secondhand, and I don't know, but that's the story for another day. This is the Bibliotech Tarot. Okay, so why are these confusing? This, I felt like the vibe this is a little bit of a scary, like, I don't know, spooky-ish, like a little bit uncomfortable deck, so just be aware of that. I'll just be flipping through. This one, I felt like the vibe-wise, like it just needed to fit in, like with the blackness, with, I don't know, is it primal? Like they're it's so tech-based, but at the same time, it feels so quintessentially human to me. I don't know, like there's just something about it that, like, even the pentacles are all like these, like chips or whatever, and it feels like consciousness in that way. And then over here we have the as I just said it, and now I can't think of it, the Oracle of Initiation, which, we have the creator, dressing up and taking these self-portraits, and then, there's this story of initiation with these keywords that are quite powerful. There's connection with deity in these. And so I'm like, is this primal? Like it gives a very primal feeling, but then it also gives something beyond. So it definitely feels like it fits that middle ground. Oh God. It kind of looks, it's, once again, here we freaking are pairing decks. So we have the House of Transformation. What is this? Surrender. And the Lovers, the broken heart. Offer control, receive freedom. Surrender. Oh, that's so cool. But yeah, these decks, like, I don't know. I feel like this one makes a lot more sense. This one is a little bit confusing. But I feel like, I don't know, it makes a lot of sense to me to see this deck as somewhere in the middle because it's tech-based. It feels like this dystopian future of humanity, but, there's a lot to be said about, why we got there. And yeah, there's a sort of human consciousness layered into both of these decks. Oh, sorry, this is so crooked, but I'm not always looking at the viewfinder. I'm just looking down. Look at that infinity. Yeah, I love these. Oh, this is so good. Where would you fit these decks? I'm curious. Would you put the bibliothèque in here? I'm not sure. I don't know if this I'm gonna leave it there. I feel like I'm not sure if this video comes across very put together, or if it comes across messy. Because in a way, I get what I'm doing and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. So I feel like you guys would do a better job of doing this. So if you feel inclined, absolutely, I would love it if you showed me your primal and primordial decks. Ooh, I love that. I love that. And yeah, I'd be so intrigued. Thank you so much for watching. This has been absolutely lovely. And I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Like it if you liked it, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that you can be notified when I upload my next video, which is going to be a really exciting one about my spiritual practice. So I will see you in the next one. Bye.